Oh, that's good. I'm glad she was happy. I just saw someone wearing it at a party the other day.
She was super. She sold a lot on Drofo and on the marketplace.
You know, it was a very epic dress and the price was right.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're joining us from around the world. Welcome to Web3 Warriors, episode 62, featuring Astrid Pilla, creator of the Meta Fashion House, and Tangpoko, a supermodel from the Metaverse for the Metaverse Fashion Week, and creator of the Dollhouse project in DCL. Thank you, Astrid and Tang, for joining us today. How are you doing today?
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Nice to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining. I look forward to exploring the metaverse with you and learning all about your projects that you have going in the metaverse. So thank you everyone for joining Web3 Warriors. I'm your host, David Karoma, go by Chrome in the metaverse. And like I mentioned, this week we'll be looking at one of our favorite topics on the show, which is the metaverse, and talking to two very talented creators from the metaverse and really honing in on the specific wearables marketplace in the metaverse, and specifically, you know, how that's maybe impacting the wider fashion industry. And really, we're just seeing all kinds of interesting, eye-popping designs coming out of the metaverse. And we have Tang here joining us as an avatar, and we'll be able to hear a little bit about her experiences, really showing what the full extent of what's possible in the metaverse with digital fashion and wearables. So I'm just going to give a little bit of a spiel on my thoughts on fashion in the metaverse, but I think Astrid and Tang will be able to give us a little bit more in-depth analysis of what's happening in the metaverse these days and a lot of the interesting events that they've been involved with, including the Metaverse Fashion Week, which is really interesting and exciting. I do also want to mention, for anyone joining us in the live stream, if you do have any questions at all, definitely feel free to chime in, and we always like hearing from the audience. If you have any interesting questions, we do NFT giveaways for a thought-provoking question as well. So feel free to chime in. We always appreciate that. I do want to give a quick kudos to Voxel's Metaverse as well. Shout out to them. We want an amazing plot in the Voxel's Metaverse with some help from Astrid and Tang here on Twitter. So that was really interesting, and we really appreciate it, and especially the support that we got on Twitter. Over 3,000 views and a lot of engagement and encouragement. And now we have a plot in the Metaverse that we're building out, and it's going to be a space for esports as well as this podcast, really a headquarters for the Web3 Warriors community. So we're really excited about that, and shout out to Voxels, and thanks for making that possible. So without further ado, we're really going to jump into the topic of fashion in the Metaverse and where we see things going, where are the trends going. We've heard a lot about this topic of quote unquote phygital, and specifically in the realm of fashion. We talked about it mostly in art so far on this show, people selling their art and giving away actual physical art to go with the digital NFTs. But we're also seeing a lot of brands coming into fashion and into digital wearables and really selling maybe actual real world fashion items that you then get a digital counterpart where you can wear in the metaverse. So I think that's a really interesting trend that I'm seeing in the space, and I look forward to kind of hearing from Astrid and Tang about their thoughts on where they see that going. So without any further ado, maybe before we get into your amazing projects and really creative endeavors that you're working on, we can get a little bit of background on what brings you to Web3 and what's keeping you inspired to continue plugging away here. Maybe we'll start with you, Astrid, and then we'll jump to Tang. Thanks.
Sure, absolutely. Well, David, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be back here. We've been on these type of excursions before, and this is very nostalgic for me. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, shout out to 2021, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I should mention we go back to the NFTs.tips days, right? And those are kind of the original rooms on Clubhouse where there was a lot of interesting NFT community collaboration, and specifically Astrid and I would lead tours in the metaverse and talk to people that were building in the metaverse. So yeah, definitely nostalgic. Thanks, Astrid. So yeah, what's bringing you into, what's keeping you going so far in Web3, plugging away?
So yeah, I basically found my second kind of calling here as I needed to, I was discovering, learning about Bitcoin, learning about, of course, NFTs at the time, 2021. And here we are in the metaverse. I was doing gallery tours. I knew nothing about art, to tell you the truth. And here, to come to understand that, the passions that I had, like in fashion, creating, I used to create hairpins for brides and make my own dresses. And so here, come to understand that I can actually, with my business experience, because when I was entering the space, I had all this, entrepreneurial experience, which I could use in this type of space as well, which I didn't realize in the beginning, but now really comes in as a very helpful, because when you're creating a business, it's just like any other business. But so I love fashion. I love digital fashion. I love connecting people. I love, really working with brands and having, if they need help to enter the space in terms of, what can we do in the metaverse? What can we create in the metaverse? Can we, create an experience for our existing fan base? And also, how do we tap into this new kind of existing, communities that are already out there in the metaverse? So that's what I've been doing for the past few years. I've been helping brands, artists. In fact, there is a piece of art in the back here. You can see there's a lot of artists in our gallery that we're walking around in right now.
Yes.
And there's an animation. I don't know if you can see the animation, which is up top of the mannequins walking around. That's a Hans Uter mannequin, and he's an IRL artist who I helped kind of bring into the metaverse and understand, what's possible, all the possibilities. He was an NFT NYC featured artist this year, so it was super exciting.
Nice.
And so when that happens, when you see someone grow in the space, it's really super satisfying for me, and it makes me happy. So so we've been working on a project called 3D Meta Dress, which is a phygital, what we call phygital. So it's a physical dress, which is 3D printed, and also the digital counterpart, which we released during Metaverse Fashion Week. And Tangpoko was our official model for that. It was pretty cool.
Very cool. I think I'm seeing a large version of the 3D meta dress here, walking around in spatial.
Yeah, there's definitely a very big 3D model of the dress. And then we have the panels with all the names. So there's 300 names on those panels of women who are either working in STEM, working in Web3, and these are incredible names in fashion, in just building community and artists. And it's really, really cool to see the excitement around it, because we released the dress in New York in physical form this year. And so that's been a really great project. So that's basically me. I'm working here full time. I'll be here. I'm staying here for the long haul. I'm not going anywhere. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. And I was able to walk over and see all these names next to the dress. That's really next level. Yeah, look forward to hearing a little bit more about that. Tang, how about you? What's keeping you inspired in Web3? What brought you in? Any background you want to share? Thanks for joining.
Thank you for inviting me, David. It's great to meet you, and always great to share a story with people on a nice Saturday morning. Astrid and I have known each other now for maybe not quite a year. I met her in Decentraland as part of her Meta Fashion House project. I came into the space about 2 years ago. My idea at the time, I had just kind of discovered NFTs, and I really was inspired by an artist called Krista Kim, which I'm sure everybody knows, and her project called Mars House, which was a three-dimensional immersive space. I really, really was enamored about that idea. In my real life, I've been super lucky to be able to work with some really talented 3D artists and coders. So it was pretty easy to assemble a team together to try and start creating these architectural NFTs of our own. We made something we loved, we wanted to sell it. And then I realized that, where do these things exist? I don't know. Where can we deploy something like this to go into Mars House, for instance, right? So that was a couple of years ago. I realized that I needed to kind of discover virtual worlds and virtual societies. And there was 3 that stood out to me at the time. This was in 2021, was CryptoVoxel, Somnium Space, and Decentraland. And I was actually on Reddit of all places, and found somebody who was really helpful in Decentraland. His name is Arconimus. At the time, I didn't know he was like this, really influential architect in Decentraland. I just thought he was just some guy. And he helped me through the whole thing. I had been in crypto before, but I had no idea about like hot wallets on the browser. I didn't know what MetaMask was. I certainly didn't know what Mana was. When he brought me into Decentraland, he really introduced me to not just a virtual world, but the world of Web3 itself, the ideas of decentralization, the ideas of creativity and collaboration and building an entire world on that was so appealing. So I came into Decentraland. I was rapidly falling in love with the place. It had such creator economy support, and I never left. I began to kind of build who I was there, build a bit of a brand there. I formed a team called the DCL Baby Dolls. We're a team of content creators kind of celebrating creativity and inclusiveness in the metaverse. We built a headquarters for ourselves, which turned into kind of an events venue where we could throw parties and just give the community a place to gather. And that's been very popular. We continue to throw weekly events and some larger events as well. I've had the opportunity to work with some incredible brands and projects and artists over the last year, and I'm excited to talk about that. And then I'm super, super privileged and blessed that Decentraland asked me to kind of represent the community and be the first Metaverse Supermodel of Fashion Week, which happened last month. So that's kind of my story. I'm excited to be here and talk about it.
Very, very cool. That's awesome. The first supermodel of the Metaverse Fashion Week featured. I feel honored to have you as a guest, so that's really exciting. So you mentioned briefly the Dollhouse project that you're working on. Maybe we'll hear a little bit more about, what's the mission? I think you spoke about it a little bit, onboarding, creators into the space, being inclusive. I know Astrid had mentioned you're really done a specific work onboarding women and female artists into the space and really pushing people in a positive direction. So what would you say is kind of the mission and vision behind your Dollhouse DCL project?
You know, it really happened very organically, but I can speak to when I first came into the metaverse, and maybe other people have had this experience too. I felt in 2021 it was a little bit of a lonely experience. It was kind of hard to find people. When you did find people, it seemed sometimes that it was kind of hard to break into a new community. So for me, once I was able to open this venue and started throwing parties, it was really important to me to create a culture of belonging, to make sure that everybody really felt welcome and that there was a place for them in the metaverse. So that I think would be like the prime mission, was just to make sure there was a place where newcomers or you know, not necessarily newcomers, just everybody could come and feel welcome and feel like they had a home in the metaverse to go to. So that's what Dollhouse first became for us. Then I think being able to onboard DJs, you know, not just female DJs, but certainly female and other unrepresented groups, DJs and artists into the space is definitely a directive that we want to pursue as well. It's been super successful. We've done stuff like International Dollhouse, which is bringing in female DJs from all over the world. We do this for Women's Month, which is in, oh gosh, it's all a blur now. I want to say March. So we did that in March, and that was a multi-metaverse event that we did just this March. And we had DJs, female DJs from Ibiza, from Kenya, from Costa Rica, and from India coming in, and of course USA. And that was awesome. Amazing.
That's really
being
cool.
able to, it was so cool. And we worked with Hug, who is also in our spatial gallery that we're standing in now. Hug is really, you know, has really similar brand alignment with us in terms of their mission of being inclusive and making sure that underrepresented groups are brought to the forefront. And so they worked with us not only for International Women's Month, but also this gallery as well. I mean, there's just so many opportunities in Web3 to let people shine. You know, the accessibility to new fan groups is there, and working together to make that happen is just so energizing and positive in this space.
Very cool. And I've noticed all these beautiful long necky ladies here next to the Hug gallery. What's the connection between long neckies and Hug?
Let me try and find you here. Oh, Astrid, you let us know. This is one of your artists, I think.
So the long necky lady, this is Nyla.
Yeah, I love it.
I have owned these since the beginnings when she first came out with her collection, and I have since kind of explored her collection. She's incredible. She's a very young artist who now is really helping to onboard, you know, kids. So I think it's so beautiful, and I love, excuse me, I love the way she has portrayed, you know, these you know, all different kind of. It's an inclusive collection, and I kind of dove a little deeper, and I own one of her older works which came out before this collection, which is called Sad, and I don't have it in here, but it's so beautiful. Awesome. It's just expressions of emotion, right? So
yeah, I'm a big fan of Nyla Hayes. I often reference her when I'm talking about inspiring NFT projects, and when you hear, you know, a lot of the FUD and things in the space, Nyla's definitely one of the ones I point to show like how positive the experience can be and how life-changing it can be, you know, not just for her, but for the other children that, like you say, she's kind of onboarded in a very safe and friendly way and made it fun. Yeah, very cool project, the long necky ladies. Shout out to Nyla Hayes. Very, very cool. Similarly, Astrid, you know, looking at Meta Fashion House, you know, what would you say is kind of the mission and vision of the Meta Fashion House?
Started as a way to really easily and seamlessly help brands come into the metaverse for that first Metaverse Fashion Week. And we had a musical artist, we had a jeweler, we had a shoe brand, we had an NFT project. So it was like so diverse in the beginning. And Meta Fashion House has really turned into really helping educate brands. So we had a beauty brand, Valde Beauty, who went so far as to create an NFT collective to help beauty and Latinx beauty entrepreneurs, which I thought was so beautiful. And she's still doing it. She's got her second annual grant coming out I think this month.
Wow.
And so really it's been about not only helping brands to come into the metaverse, but also helping to team, let's say, a brand with a young artist or an upcoming artist. I like to, I love discovering new talent. And so if I can, discover someone new, let's say a female artist who is just coming into the digital fashion space, if we can then team up with a brand and create some special magic in the digital fashion realm and also help that brand create a really cool community experience, well, then that's incredible. And, since we've been in Decentraland, we've also kind of branched out into, we have the spatial gallery, we have an on-cyber location, and then we have, different augmented reality kind of capabilities and things like that. So we can really kind of branch out into all different IRL experiences too. So it's cool.
Very cool. Very cool. And how do you find that conversation with the brands is going? I think that's one area where some, like DCL seems to be doing really well as far as getting brands into their metaverse and really having these big splashes, and what do you think makes a project more successful or more appealing to these brands? Like, what have you found? Like, what kind of what's the magic sauce, I guess, is the question. I feel like it seems like some creators and some metaverses are struggling, and then others are getting a little bit more attention and support from these brands. And it's awesome that you're doing the legwork to really connect the brands to genuine grassroots level creators and people that are out here building. So
I mean, to be honest, I think it's because of people like myself, like Tangpoko, like let's say Nikki Fuego, Last Slice. There's communities inside Decentraland that really kind of embrace this onboarding kind of, if a brand reaches out to us, we kind of all know about it and we say, okay, this is happening. Let's all, communicate together. There's a lot of community effort. And I think that's what kind of makes Decentraland stand out with these big, activations. And I think, the secret sauce is really just having that experience to kind of be able to talk to brands and, somebody to kind of, if there are people that can, coordinate that, you need kind of coordinators. If not, it's kind of, it's not organized and things like that. And really we have to take it upon ourselves sometimes to organize that. I mean, to be honest with you, I was not a part of the official Metaverse Fashion Week the first year. And I just took it upon myself to say, okay, I'm going to do this I had 12 different, floors and levels. And I had a panel talk that we organized with, leaders in the industry. And I just did that all on my own. And I wasn't even, officially on the program, let's say.
Wow.
So, if you understand that and if you can kind of, you just jump in and don't be shy and go ahead and, talk to people, reach out and, make it happen for yourself. That's my advice.
I found that in the conversation that I have with brands and projects and artists that's coming in, they're very excited about entering Web3, but they really don't know what they want to do. So they do need to reach out and talk to people like myself or Astrid or really anybody in the space and find out, what is Web3. They'll often come in with that Web2 attitude, which for me is, here's my product, take a look.
Right.
And that's just not going to fly in the metaverse and with the Web3 community. So I'll tell them, how can you serve the community? How can you support the community? How can you find a way to be a part of the culture of the community? And we'll explore ways for them to do that. And whether that's honoring them through art or maybe sponsoring some wearable creators, come into where we live and meet us here. And then don't just show us your product, but invite us to become a part of your brand story. And that's when I think the real magic happens. And to do that, you do need to have these touch points in the community, like Astrid or Nikki Fuego, or, there's so many great, like Last Slice, there's so many great communities. But to come in and not try and explore that ways to resonate with us in a cultural way, I think you're completely wasting all your dollars by building an activation that you're not trying to resonate with the community. So I really push that in. And once a brand or a project or an art, once they hear that, it clicks. And I don't think it just clicks for this activation. I think the whole idea of Web3 clicks for them and they get it. You know, it's like a mental paradigm shift for them. And then they become all about it. You know, how can we reach out more? What can we do? Who are, you know, they'll start finding influencers in the space that they love and want to, you know, highlight them. You know, they get it because this is the future. You know, collaboration is so much better than just sales pitch.
Right.
I
Collaboration
mean,
over competition is what I always say.
Yeah, perfect. You know, exactly. So, you know, they're receptive to it. So we just need to have that conversation with them whenever we can.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're both
Totally
doing the good work, doing the legwork, and taking the initiative. As Astrid said, I think that's the number one, right? Don't just assume, don't wait. You know, I think it was Ope said it. You know, open or closed mouths don't get fed, you know. You got to go out and talk to people and actually share what you're working on. So I'm really interested, Tang, in the idea of these weekly metaverse events. So I'm thinking if we can jump over to Decentraland. I think I saw you in there. I just opened the tab. It's loading. Hopefully it'll be good for me. It looks okay so far.
I see you. Yeah,
there you
right.
are. I see you dancing on the dance floor over here.
I wish this wasn't happening on a Saturday morning when it's a little bit sleepy here in Decentraland.
Okay.
I mean,
that's okay.
you gotta come by on a Wednesday night or a Thursday or really any evening when this place is packed full of shiny, beautiful people. I like to say that the metaverse is like the Met Gala 24/7.
No doubt. Okay, so I love that my guy just started breaking out into dance automatically. That's amazing. It's a vibe over here. It's a vibe. He's just dancing. So how does it work and how have you found success? Because I find having events in the metaverse that are regular, consistent, and actually fun is not an easy thing. So how have you done it and how are you continuing to build?
Tang is the master.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Well, you know, it's the support of the community is everything. For some reason, they've all found, you know, maybe I hope it's because they all feel like I've created a culture of belonging for them. You know, when they come here, it's not just my dollhouse, it's Decentraland's dollhouse. It's everybody's house. You know, you're part of the family when you come here. And now, Chrome, you're here too. So, you know, you gotta come and party with us on a Wednesday night. So we'll bring in, Wednesdays is kind of the sort of my trademark night, quote unquote. We have an event called Wag Me Wednesdays, and it's been going on for over a year now. Oh,
Like
here, look at her, she's beautiful.
Hey, welcome, Astrid. NFT Creator Tours. Holy, she's got the 3D meta dress. She's got the wings. Holy, looking angelic
dress.
Over here.
Right? This is Met Gala, completely Met Gala.
Met Gala
right now.
for real, yeah.
For real. So one of the things that's fun about what we do with Wag Me Wednesdays is that I will have a theme. A wearables theme. So let's say this Wednesday's theme was Wag Me Wings, and everybody will wear their favorite wings wearable, or they'll go to the marketplace and start buying different wings wearables so they can wear at the party. We'll bring in, maybe we'll use a community DJ. On Wednesdays, I usually try and bring in new DJs who haven't been in Decentraland before or who are kind of new to the space. We have somebody called Rocky YVR coming up on this Wednesday, and I'll make an official announcement that the theme is pink and black this week.
Oh, cool.
So everybody will be in their finest pink and black clothes. We'll have people shooting photos. We've got people doing video all night long, and we just have some wild giveaways, and we just have a great time. And this has been going on weekly forever, for a year and a half. People are really receptive, and I love how people really, really try to push into the theme. And I think it even sometimes charges up the wearables market. Night before last was May 4th. So I did a little bit of a special party called May the 4th Be With You. It was space themed. And it was just a frenzy in the marketplace of people buying lightsabers and, robot outfits. And we had a big spaceship flying in the back with a couple of new DJs in, as well as my community DJ, my resident DJ Gucci. Oh, here we have Rodrino.
Rodrino dropping in. What's up?
That's right. Shake it. And you can see like some of the other activations we've done on the walls. We recently worked with Absolute. So I have a few pictures of the baby dolls on our Absolute activation in the last couple of weeks. We did DKNY recently as well over here. And we did the 420 dope party. Nice. Earlier this month, which was great. Lots of fun giveaways. I think just consistency is probably the number one thing for throwing events in the metaverse. You know, not every event is going to be super packed, but if you constantly are doing it, and people know they have a place to go to every Wednesday in the metaverse, or in my case, every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, and then numerous pop-ups, that becomes almost ritualistic. Let's do Wednesdays in the metaverse. And I think that appeals, especially in these early days when the culture is just starting to form, and we're looking to create traditions, we're looking to create rituals. And going out to WAGMI Wednesday every week in the metaverse is a thing that we do. It's part of the culture now.
Very cool. Very cool. Kudos to you. Like, that's what's up. You're building up the culture as you have fun and kind of create a consistent thing to go to. And I love what you're mentioning about the marketplace and how it impacts the marketplace, because you have themes around each night and people go and buy wearables. Like right now, I don't have any pink and black wearables, so I'm going to have to go check it out and see what I can do. You're looking really fancy in your pink and purple and shiny gold, and wow, just really cool wearables you got there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't even thought about that angle of like its actual impact on the economy, right? The decentralized economy in the space. Can you speak to that? Is it like a conscious thing, or is it more you think it's going to be, or it is just kind of organic, like you're just having fun and it happens to lead to sales? It's not like you have goals or metrics, or you're really aiming to boost sales or anything?
Definitely no goals or metrics, and it happened organically, but it was very quickly when we started doing this that we noticed that impact. So it's definitely something that we're aware of. We have in the past told designers and creators ahead of time, like, hey, we're planning to have a space party in a month, or we're planning to have prom in a month. So if you're planning on creating some wearables, maybe create towards that, because that's going to, people are going to be looking for prom dresses. Right. So we will try and, I don't want to say affect the marketplace, but try and work with creators too, to make this something that benefits everybody.
No doubt.
Definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. So you mentioned Absolute, you got DKNY. Obviously the brands are coming in. Like I said, I've definitely seen a lot more brands coming in Decentraland than maybe others. The only other one that's maybe comparable is Sandbox, but Sandbox isn't even really fully live yet, but they have a lot of corporate buy-in apparently. So how do you see this trend kind of evolving? Maybe we'll start with you, Astrid, and then we'll go to Tang. How are brands viewing the metaverse in general, and how are they going to, do you think that it just continues on this kind of upward trajectory? Do you think that there'll be we have to wait for the next bull market kind of thing, and then there'll be a huge bull rush? How do you see things moving right now?
I see things moving in the direction of IRL plus virtual experiences. A lot of brands are doing these pop-ups, like right now at the Coach store in New York. I don't know if you've seen this, but they have an incredible AR experience at the store. And then they had a metaverse experience inside Metaverse Fashion Week. I think a lot of brands are going to kind of move towards that. And, of course, testing the waters in different metaverses. I think Decentraland, definitely Roblox is a very popular one. And of course, Sandbox. And even there's Hyperfi, which you should go check out, but it's fairly new, right, Tang?
Okay.
I think it's pretty new, but from what I gathered from Hyperfi is that it was this really amazingly easy way to kind of hop between metaverses. So I haven't totally explored it yet, but it's just, shout out to, people who want to kind of explore a new metaverse. Hyperfi is brand new for me. But yeah, I think brands are gonna, and I know there were some changes in Decentraland, so I think, it might look slightly different, but I think if people for example, myself and Tang and creators out there are kind of helping the brands along, I think that can, the upward trajectory, will continue, and it might look a little bit different, like I said, physical to digital.
No doubt, no doubt.
I really love the idea of brands coming in and having multi-metaverse activations. So, like you were saying with Coach and the AR, and then also having something in Metaverse Fashion Week, and Metaverse Fashion Week itself being both in Spatial and in Decentraland. I love that idea. Different metaverses are going to be good for different things.
Right.
You know, I mean, Decentraland, it's really cool, but it doesn't run on mobile. It can't run on mobile at this time anyway, just because it's such a heavy and intense world, but a place like Spatial can. So I don't think it has to be one or the other, but, you know, having, say, your panels inside Spatial and your gamification builds inside Decentraland makes a lot of sense to me.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a metaverse for every type of activation. And I think the brands that see that, you know, you're going cross metaverse in all different directions, I think that's kind of the, you know, then you're really appealing to a lot of different, you know, there's a lot of pieces for a lot of different use cases, and people can, you know, use their phone and the laptop, for example.
No doubt. Yeah, I do like the mobile access. It's nice, and not everyone has a computer that can handle the really cool DCL with all these shiny, amazing graphics. Yeah, that's a good point. Awesome. So do you think that corporations can potentially still be in a position where they're kind of like playing kingmaker in the metaverse though? Or do you think that, you know, it's really like Tang was saying earlier, guided by the community, and the brands / corporations that come in are all gonna basically have to do what Tang was saying, which is really try to like tap in and start with the community and go where the people are? Or do you think that there's still a position, like, you know, we all saw Meta trying to make moves to basically redefine what the metaverse was, which didn't really work out too well for them. But looking at like fashion brands and the idea that maybe a really influential fashion brand could say, you know, we're only going to do stuff in Sandbox because Sandbox is the coolest. And like, do you think something like that like dramatically shakes up the place? Or how do you see things evolving from like a competition standpoint between these different metaverses?
I mean, for me, I'd say that the community leads this, and marketing now, it's about niche marketing. You know, just because, let's say, you know, big brand TM is in one metaverse, that doesn't mean that I'm going to spend all my time in one metaverse. Right. I'm all about, you know, whether it's small designers or the designer of the day. You know, I think brand loyalty is different than it was, say, 5 or 10 years ago, where, you know, I'm going to be head to toe in Gucci and nothing but. That's not the style anymore. The style is to focus on smaller designers, mix that with big designers, do something vintage, maybe something that I made myself. You know, I think that we have to, I'm not sure if there is kingmakers anymore.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's the wave, right? What do you think, Astrid?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there's also room, you know, to create community somewhere, but it would have to be, you know, a group of already existing community kind of moving, okay, let's do something here. So I think, yeah, that's going to definitely kind of consist of, I don't think one brand can say, okay, I'm here now, therefore this is the metaverse to end all metaverses. It's not going to work like that.
I hope not anyway. I mean, maybe we're naive, but I hope really not.
Cool experience.
No, I think you're right. And I think it is niche. You know, it's all about the niche markets right now. So
you know,
Astrid,
sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, you mentioned AR, and I do want to point out you got a really cool AR filter on your face right now, Astrid, looking teched out. Very cool. Like, what do you think is the future of AR? And have you seen like an AR platform or AR kind of metaverse, if you will, that has really caught your eye, that's like really taking off, or you see kind of making waves right now?
You know, there's a couple of different platforms. Of course, we know DressX is the big one, and they just went through their seed round and everything. So they're you know, very big. And then you've got 010 that has a little bit of a different, you know, feel to it. They've also got big partners. Just uniquely face filters, which is kind of cool. And you have got, you know, brands that are just independently putting out, let's say, Instagram filters, lens filters. Am I missing any, Tang? I think, you know, like, for example, the Coach store is using 010 technology. So that's in the mirrors that they have in the windows, that's 010 app. So those, you know, different apps are being, you know, as they partner with bigger brands, now they're kind of saying, okay, now we want to help the independent creators, which is what I'm waiting for. I really want them to kind of reach out to independent creators and start being more accessible to the independent creators. I think that's super important because it kind of, gives this sense of feeling like, we really want help too, but we don't have the funding maybe to do it. So,
right. DressX is very Web3, right? Like it's very much focused on kind of NFT, all these assets being connected to NFTs, right?
I believe they are. Not everything is an NFT, but I think most of them are, if I'm not mistaken. But you can basically submit something in different. If you've made all the files, then it's much easier to kind of submit everything. But they can help you also create the what you need to get a collection up, for example.
Yeah, I've seen them floating around, and I've been impressed with what they're doing, and I've seen them grow quite a bit just over the last year. I remember when I just started this podcast and I was looking at, fashion in the metaverse, DressX was already making waves, early 2022, and then I've seen them kind of expand quite a bit since then. But then looking at what you were talking about with 010 and wanting to be more grassroots oriented and support the kind of creators at the grassroots level, I think that happens naturally when you have Web3 and kind of a decentralized marketplace connected to it, right? So maybe if they, open it up for any digital asset creators, AR asset creators, to be able to tokenize their assets, right? And then sell it on maybe their own marketplace. But I don't know if 010 is interested in something like that. They sound more maybe Snapchat kind of style, where they're just focused on the AR tech specifically.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are, had to kind of create their business models, and they needed, bigger players, let's say, to kind of help that along, because they're the ones that have the funding, right? Yeah. But then you've got, like, for example, if you've got, let's say the Fabricant, they have really cool augmented reality like earrings, and it's a whole part of a whole collection and a whole different metaverse called Whole Land. That's really cool too, and they're going to have a lot of collaboration, co-creation in their ecosystem. And they just actually had a contest where you could remix the augmented reality earrings, and they had tutorials and showing people how to do it. So it was really cool. Nice. It was really, really cool. Unfortunately, I did not play around with it. I really wanted to, but I never got to it. But it's something that is really cool, because I think it's educating, designers and kind of giving them opportunity to co-create with a big, amazing digital fashion house like the Fabricant.
No doubt. Yeah, only so many hours in a day for fun in the metaverse, hey? It's hard to get to everything, and I definitely want to make sure I get out to one of your next events, Tang, because this is really cool. I'm really liking the spot here. I'm seeing some people flying around. I saw you swimming in that pool up there. How do you do the actions? Like, I feel like I'm out of the loop. I thought I knew how to move around in DCL, but apparently I'm a noob over here.
In addition to the wearables market, we came out with an emotes market. And I really think that this has changed the dynamic of Decentraland. I think it was maybe last October, last November that this came out. And it changed everything. When I was here for a first year, and we had like 10 default emotes. And now I swear there's hundreds of them. I mean, we can dance, we can swim, we can take shots, we can smoke cigarettes, we can do all sorts of things. We have rock, paper, scissors, And I think just like in the real world, body language helps you communicate. So have these emotes help you communicate. So it really charged up the market, which was getting a little bit sleepy with the bear market coming in last summer. All of a sudden they introduced emotes, and Decentraland really became alive because of it. So you buy it the exact same way you do. You access the wearables market, you just click emotes, and you can use Mana to start making your characters pop and lock and do all sorts of stuff.
No doubt. And then you just assign it to like a number on your keyboard or a key, I guess, and you're
boom, you know it. That's exactly what you do.
No doubt. That's cool. And shout out to Tang. She's out here giving away wearables or something. Some random person showed up in the dollhouse. Nice.
I mean, because it's Saturday morning. It's probably their first time in Decentraland. They're walking around. They're lonely. They're like, this place is dead. There's nothing to do. So if they run across a community member, I mean, get them to the parties, give them a little swag, make them feel like they have a place to go to and someone to connect with. And I'm telling you, this is onboarding. And it's not, it doesn't even feel like a job. Like I really do want this person to come to the party. I really do want them to introduce them to people.
That's what's up. That's amazing. I love that I was here to witness it. Shout out to Z Choice, just stumbling into the spot
right?
here.
They don't even know they're famous.
Right, exactly. Etched in time here. So I was wondering, it sounds like you two are very busy in DCL and spatial especially. I don't know if I have to ask what's your favorite metaverse. It sounds like DCL's the spot. It's where it's happening. But how do you see the evolution of the metaverse more broadly? And I've noticed that so far all of the successful metaverse are on like Ethereum essentially, or layer 2 within the Ethereum ecosystem. Why do you think that is? And are you looking at any other metaverse spaces that have like really caught your eye recently? Maybe we'll go to Astrid first, and then we'll go to Tang.
I mean, that's a good point. It's a good point to point out that it's all, Ethereum kind of Polygon based. And I have never witnessed a metaverse that might be on a different chain, to be honest. Even Wilder World, those are definitely, we have the wild token, but that's definitely on a layer of Ethereum as well. So those are all Ethereum. So that's a good question. I mean, I think people are just going to keep coming out now, and it's a use case thing again. Like for a brand, does the brand want a microverse, which is just something that you access from your website? Really, it's just kind of an ecosystem just for the brand, or do you want a neighborhood and kind of like other brands to be, when you have, let's say, Metaverse Fashion Week, you have a street you can walk down and you can kind of visit other areas, and you have gamification, which is throughout the entire area kind of thing. So it really is different use cases. I mean, Coachella was just the past month, right, Tang? And you had 2 different weekends of different activations, and people were at Coachella, and they could experience an experience in the metaverse also.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't hear Tang, do you?
I'm here. I am here.
Tang's busy giving away some wearables over here. But yeah, same question to you, Tang. Is there a metaverse project that you're really excited about outside of DCL or spatial?
Well, I agree with everything that Astrid said. And before I talk about other metaverses, I just want to talk about one of the things that makes Decentraland so very, very special among metaverses. And that is that I think it is really a true Web3 metaverse. It's built on Web3 core principles like decentralization.
Right.
The people that are here, we own everything ourselves. We're doing everything ourselves. We really steer the direction of the platform. And I think that people who are attracted to that kind of philosophy, and once you learn about it, who wouldn't be? People who are attracted to that kind of philosophy, they come in, they stay, and that's what makes the Decentraland community a little bit different than all the other communities, because all our hearts and our philosophies, we're here with that mindset, the mindset to celebrate the creator, to own our own assets, and to work together to build an exciting future. So that's why we love Decentraland. What I'd like to do is be able to, I love other metaverses too, don't get me wrong, and I'm all about avoiding concentration risk. I definitely want to get into spatial more. Looking at doing activations in Roblox and even Fortnite. Hyperfi is very, very exciting. It's so new. I don't know quite what to make of it, but I see people that I respect, creators that I respect, really flocking to there. And I think that makes a difference, because these are people who are really, truly building for the right reasons. And it's important that we take notice of people doing that. Where they're not going, and then where they're going, and bring our communities there to support that and celebrate that. On Cyber is very exciting too. I don't know a lot about On Cyber, but I know that they're throwing a lot of parties and getting a lot of attention, and I think there's a lot of room for them to grow. What's important again about Decentraland is this great creator economy that they have. And I don't see a lot. I mean, I'm sure it's not long before other metaverse will have that, but the Decentraland one is very established. And that makes it really exciting too, to invite people in and know that within a couple of weeks, they can start building and making their own wearables and start selling them right away on the blockchain inside Decentraland. That's really exciting. I'd love to see that in other metaverses. I think in spatial, I have to go through Ready Player Me now. And to me, that doesn't feel like decentralization. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I do kind of have to adjust my way of thinking.
Yeah, no doubt. I could see that. Wow, great points all around. On that point about truly decentralized Web3 metaverse spaces, I definitely think Decentraland's been ahead of the game, and Crypto Voxels were kind of the first out the gate. And then Somnium Space, I think, is doing it as well, where like everything you see is built by the creators in the community on the ground and owned by the creators, more importantly. And then they can sell, they can trade, and the assets kind of build a natural, genuine community and a genuine economy, more importantly. And yes, we definitely see that happening in DCL, and it is really impressive how they're able to scale this out and really give people that open sandbox, pardon the pun, kind of opportunity to really build, unlike Sandbox, which is, I think, a little bit more centralized, a little bit more closed off in what you can do and how you can do it. When it comes to DCL and the wearables, though, you do need to own a plot, right, in order to enter the wearables market?
Absolutely not.
No?
You do not. No, you don't need to own a plot of land to. In fact, I don't own any land myself. I'm merely a renter.
Okay. That's cool. Very cool. So as a wearables builder, a creator, I should say, who wants to get into the DCL market, what's kind of the steps you take then?
I would look at the docs, make sure that your GLB, your files adhere to regulations, and get yourself some mana so that you can pay the publishing fee, which I think is about 150 USD now. And that's it. And then, start going to parties, start getting involved with the community.
And is that publishing fee for every new wearable, or is it like a one-time thing?
It's for every new wearable.
Okay. Cool.
Right. And so what that pays for is the gas fees, of course, and using the contract, but also a curation committee that makes sure that what's being made it has no IP infringement or a copy of anything else, or might, inadvertently wreck the scene, so they will do a quick review of that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Step in my new gown and the scene immediately crashes. No. There have been some wearables that have been really interesting. Like, you see that they're supposed, whatever, your hair is like flowing through correctly and stuff like that, or your hands aren't like disappearing. So things like that, they help out.
Make sure quality control would be the goal there. Yeah, for sure. So let's maybe jump over to your spot, Astrid. I think I have it queued up here. I want to check that out as well. So really, really impressive, Tang, with what you're doing with the consistency and the events in the metaverse. Definitely want to check it out and become a little more active in the DCL space. I will admit the community that I've been more involved with at Blockchain Gospel and the Dream Conduit on Clubhouse has been a little more leaning into the voxel space than the DCL. And I think it does have partly to do with the mobile access and the, kind of ease of access. But definitely I'm very excited about what you have going on in DCL.
David, I have an idea here. I mean, if your community is in Crypto Voxels and my community is in Decentraland, I mean, what we need to do is kind of maybe let's throw a party on the same night and we'll start like mixing the communities back and forth. How about that?
Nice. That sounds epic. That sounds amazing.
That sounds good. All right.
You got to make it happen for sure.
Good. Can you, Astrid, can you tell me the coordinates and I'll drop by your place?
This was 92, I think, or I'm at the metaverse.
Are you in the pink one? It's minus 88.5. Minus 88.5.
Minus 88.5. Okay.
I am hopping on my laptop because I had a little crash.
No problem.
So we're hopping in. Nice.
Cool. So tell us a little bit about this plot within Decentraland that we're visiting and what the mission is for your corner of the metaverse here.
Yeah, so this is actually an annex what we could call an annex, because Meta Fashion House is actually at minus 118, comma 91. But this location is located inside the fashion district, and this was where we launched 3D Meta Dress. And this was, the location was really to showcase this design brand. And so this was to honor 300 women in Web3, and also, in fact, honoring all women in Web3, right? But we had 300 nominees basically, and we decided that it would be a great opportunity to release the Decentraland wearable, which was called, the wearable is actually called Power of Affirmation. And so what that is of course we can't put 300 names on a Decentraland dress, so it didn't make sense. So we wanted to kind of put words of empowerment on the dress. So we have words like strong and dream, and of course we have DCL and words that kind of work with the form of the dress. So those we have given for free to all the women on the dress. And if you are listening to this and you are on that dress and you haven't received your wearable, please reach out. But yeah, we had a ton of giveaways during Metaverse Fashion Week and a lot of interest in what the dress was all about. So we had this party in Spatial and in Metaverse Fashion Week, and it was really all about just empowering women, and there were so many creators inside Decentraland who were featured on the dress. It was really cool. So we had a meetup, and we kind of had a group photo and things like that. So yeah, it was great, and I'm glad it's still up, so we can still kind of check out the names and everything.
It's such a beautiful project that you did, Astrid. Really, it is. It's and I love the wearable that you made in real life. I really love the wearable that you made for Decentraland. You worked with some of the best designers in Decentraland to make this happen. And it's just
shout out to Dapcraft.
Shout out to Dapcraft, because it's really a remarkable dress. It looks good and it feels good on. And I love that you are celebrating all the women in Web3. Fantastic work.
No, it's really inspiring. It's a very cool corner of the metaverse here. And so
I want to mention the designer, Sylvia Heisel. She's the incredible brains behind the design itself. In terms of the physical piece, she's an incredible IRL designer. She's been working with 3D printing in couture for a few years now, since 2014. So, she's been creating incredible pieces. And in fact, it's really funny, Tang, that you said that you were kind of, when you first got into Web3, it was Krista Kim who kind of like piqued your interest. Well, Krista Kim is the owner of one of the biggest pieces that she has made, just out of complete, she visited the Paz lifestyle store, I think last year, and found the 3D printed jacket that Sylvia had made by chance. It was complete chance. So Krista Kim is actually a collector of one of her pieces. So I thought that was really cool.
That is super cool. I'm curious, because looking at the actual wearable within the metaverse here, like you said, it's got cool, like inspiring words on there. It's also got Web3 on there and DCL. So the IRL digital version also has these exact words, or is it a slightly different?
So the IRL version has 300 hand-drawn and 3D printed first names of women.
Oh, on the IRL dress?
On the IRL dress, yeah. And you can see it on all the socials, it's just 3D Meta Dress spelled out on either Instagram, on Twitter, and you can kind of see, and the website as well, 3dmetadress.com. Awesome. And you'll be able to see the actual gown. It's incredible, really incredible. We had it at Nulcha shows at NFT NYC at the Nulcha shows event. And we had and we had, the backdrop of all the incredible artists like Fuck Render and Jenny Pasadena. I mean, incredible designers. And so we were able to get some incredible photos. And then we had the Paz Lifestyle store, which is a sustainable lifestyle brand store, basically only specializing in sustainable brands. And so this was featured at her store as well. And we did a blockchain 101 event for customers and things. It was fun. It was really fun.
Awesome. Blockchain 101. That's what's up. So I do want to definitely hit on that importance of onboarding and how that work is going with you. I know we're close to, or we hit the 1 hour mark. So I appreciate your time. It's been really fun running around the metaverse here. And this is a really cool project. I was able to just bring it up on the Twitter as well and see the actual IRL dress, this model draped in it. And it's very cool. It's actually, next level. Kudos. Very impressive. Looking at the IRL models in this metaverse space, because they seem to be wearing kind of similar fashion, but more just like your typical mesh kind of shirt, I guess. Is the designer who created the dress the same? Is that like their work on the banners there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's Sylvia Heisel. Those are 3D printed, what we call tunics, and they're really unisex, to be honest. And I wear them everywhere, basically.
Nice.
If I go to an IRL event, I have one of them on me. So yes, those are all 3D printed by Sylvia Heisel. And yeah, they're all chipped as well. So they have NFC chips in the sleeves, and
truly
you can
digital,
scan.
truly digital.
Yeah.
And do you think that's going to be a trend we see a lot more of into the future, that tokenizing an actual physical piece of clothing?
I do. I really do. We're about to partner with Solaire, who has NFC chips that are incredibly tiny. And fabric. So the alpha that I will give you is that we're also coming out with jewelry that's going to be 3D printed.
Wow. So,
and they will all be NFC chips by Solaire, and they're, we'll go to the NFT, the beautiful 3D artwork and AR filters, things like that. So that's the plan.
DC wearables too, I hope. I need new jewelry.
Of course. Yes, of course. Yes. And my next DCL wearable, by the way, needs to be, I want to do the GM hat. So
yeah.
I don't know, Tang. I'm looking at you here. You're pretty shiny. I don't know. You need any more jewelry there.
Come on. I always need. I am. Look at even the hair sparkles.
That's it. Impressive. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. And yeah, shout out to the designer, Sylvia. So 3D jewelry. How do you make that, I guess, luxurious? Or would that not be the goal necessarily? Is it more from a sustainability angle?
It is actually, so the 3D printed pieces will be, we're going to give those also for as a gift to our honorees with their name in the 3D printed material. But you can also, if you want to, order, let's say in silver, gold, or platinum. So in that respect, it becomes really kind of a luxury item, I guess. But even the 3D pieces, 3D printed pieces, when you think about it, it sounds like tchotchke or something. But when you look at them, I don't know how she does it. Sylvia is amazing to make things look absolutely gorgeous and, high end. So even if it's 3D printed, it really looks incredible.
Awesome. So, look forward to seeing it. So on the topic of onboarding, Tang, you kind of spoke to this a bit, but how are you doing it? What is your kind of focus or priority when looking at, bringing new people into the ecosystem, into Web3? And how are those conversations going for you? Maybe we'll start with Tang and then we'll go to Astrid. But how are you going about it right now? Is it just kind of like, as people stumble in, you make sure to do like what you just did here with a random visitor in the metaverse and be generous and tell them all about what you're up to? Or are you actively kind of reaching out into creator communities IRL and really trying to spread the word of Web3?
Both, absolutely both. Whether it's just anytime you see somebody new, you want to welcome them in. Being able to work with brands and projects in the space, you're always going to meet people who really gravitate towards this and bring their communities in. It's always great to do that. Being on podcasts and having the opportunity, which I thank you very much for, to speak on your podcast, and hopefully people will see that and come on in as well.
Nice, for sure.
Just getting the word out there is the most important thing. I'm really trying to do a lot of projects now that are multi-metaverse, being able to work with Astrid in spatial. We did some stuff at Metaverse Miami last year, which was amazing, which was kind of like a real life and Decentraland cross. I can't even say cross metaverse, although sometimes I think of real life as another metaverse too these days.
It's extension of reality.
Exactly. It's just another world of the many worlds that we're jumping around in. So we did a real life Decentraland two-way stream every night for Metaverse Miami, which was fantastic. So these kind of reaching out opportunities is what's going to bring people in. A project that I'm working on right now, we're going to start in June, is Vertex. We've had a couple of series already. This is the third series, and we will hold a once-a-week party in Decentraland and also another metaverse. Last year was spatial, I think, and there's a little bit of alpha here. I think we're going to do it in Hyperfi starting in June. And what we'll do is a live art and live DJ show where we'll bring in an artist to create live art while we have my resident DJ Gucci, who's also the showrunner. He is doing maybe an hour and a half of DJing sessions. So we have music and art meeting together. We bring everybody in to kind of vibe and watch what's going on. And then a little bit of an interview with the artist afterwards. So that's super exciting. These kind of new parties where we're celebrating creativity and going from metaverse to metaverse as well is something I'm super excited about, and I think that helps with onboarding as well.
Most definitely. That is exciting. You got to make it fun, that's going to be the key. That's not about promising to go to the moon or promising big bucks. It's about, let's have fun, let's hang out in the community. I'll show you what you can build. You can actually create a name for yourself and sell your wearables, or do whatever you want, or put your art up on the wall and sell your art in the metaverse.
Absolutely. And to even just take it a step farther, even if you don't have anything to build or sell or create, that's okay too. Just come on in and vibe with us. Not everybody is out here trying to, push their thing. Sometimes they're just out here to vibe and make connections with people. And that's totally cool too. Come on in and just hang out. There's no pressure to do anything. Just have a good time.
That's it. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. You're convincing me. I gotta be coming around DCL more. That's for sure.
Well, you know where to hang
Astrid? out. What do you think about onboarding, and what are you kind of focusing on in this vein?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Tang actually, and I think I think we have like an incredible, we're lucky because we work really well together in terms of if I'm out at Bit Basel and, I can stream, and, Tangpoko has her, space inside Decentraland or wherever spatial, I can just call Tang up and be like, hey, I have this event, you want to stream it? She'll be like, sure. And we just do it, it's it's great. And so I think, I went to Digital Fashion Week, which was in New York and in London, and we streamed both of those into, the IRL event into the Dollhouse. Nice. And, that it works great. And
there was a hunger for it. People came and they were really excited about it. So thank you, Astrid, for giving me the opportunity. I don't think that I say enough how much I appreciate you in this space, how much you're doing behind the scenes. I mean, you're a real mover and a shaker here, and I think people got to give you your flowers.
Amen.
Aww. Definitely, we're a good team, I think. We definitely work well together. So it's fun, and I have an opportunity to go to Oxford actually in June, which is completely not metaverse related. This is, my father was a bioelectrochemist. Okay, I'm going to just go all out there. And they're holding an annual meeting for the Bioelectromagnetic Society, and I am going to go, and I'm opening up a metaverse for them. I'm going to have a spatial space for them to be able to, showcase kind of what some of the researchers are doing. And then we'll have a live stream of one of the plenary talks, which is, I hope, I'm crossing fingers, it's not set yet, but there's a professor that is going to be speaking about the Earth's magnetic field and bird migration. So I think it's really cool, Wow. And it has nothing to do with fashion, but,
But while you're out there, you might convert some people to Web3, right?
exactly. So I'll be onboarding, I'll be helping them make their avatars and, explaining. I actually have a talk on the big stage about Web3.
Oh,
So
wow. That's amazing. Well, definitely keep us posted. If it is being live streamed, let us know. We'll jump in and check it out. I would definitely love to watch that. I like to nerd out on that kind of stuff. So kudos to you being at Oxford. That's going to be a nice one for the portfolio as well, right? Speaking on Web3 at Oxford, no big deal.
It'll be at the Mathematics Institute, I think it is. It's pretty cool.
That's the real deal right there. That's amazing. So we're all here hanging out in the meta fashion or 3D meta dress. And you said this is the fashion district, hey, of DCL. So how does that work? Like how has this become the fashion district, and what happens here at the fashion district?
So for Metaverse Fashion Week, they had a big community space, which was run by Nicky Fuego, had a really nice big space, and that was for community creators. And he had a fashion show that was were the luxury designers, and then they had the neo designers where we are. And we could walk around, and then there was the big what was the space called, Tang, where we had the community fashion show, where we had the avatars come in and showcase each of the pieces, the dentist show. That was like the main event, basically. So we had kind of everything, centrally located. So this is just, a place where you can walk around, you can see creations by, let's say, Dolce & Gabbana, or the bigger creators. And then you can go to DressX, you can go to the Fabricant, you can visit, we have Mad Global in there, and who are hosting designers. So I actually worked with House of Web3, and we had the Ukrainian designer Blonde Blanche. She's incredible. That dress actually was the blue dress inside Spatial that you saw.
Right.
And it's also inside Decentraland. So we had it in both places. And then we had the second designer was Shaylee Harrison of Mutiny. She's a Belgian, from Belgium, Antwerp. So yeah, we had those two designers. So I kind of helped House of Web3 curate those designers. So we had a lot of things going on during Metaverse Fashion Week. But it's, I think the neighborhood is going to stay there for the time being. I don't think they have a reason to kind of, it builds beautiful value for all of Decentraland. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And the really architecture is awesome. I love how your building kind of mirrors the Fabricant's building.
I know. Polygonal cool. Mind, I think it was Polygonal. I'm not sure who did the architecture actually, but it might have been Metaverse Architects, or I know Polygonal Mind worked on some of the wearables, and also the inside. It might have been that did the belt. I don't quote. Working on this, to be honest, it was a lot of work. So
one of the amazing things about Metaverse Fashion Week, I think, was the fact that you had these incredible legacy brands like Coach and Balenciaga and DKNY and Tommy Hilfiger and Dolce & Gabbana with new Web3 designers like Fabricant, like the 3D meta dress, like Mad Global, and then also with these kind of metaverse native designers that were Decentraland specific. I see that we are standing really close to CK Bubble's nail art exhibit. You have Doki, you have Nicky Fuego's incredible build that was just like a celebration of fashion, and also the build that I curated, which was a showcase of all the community designs. The fact that we have all these people side by side together really speaks to Web3 and how it levels the playing field for everybody. And it becomes, the fans it becomes very accessible to show your work to the same people that, are here to see Dolce & Gabbana. And now they're here to see, Doki's beautiful creations as well. So I think that's something that Metaverse Fashion Week did really, really well.
Awesome.
I totally agree, by the way. And that purple building, the CK Bubbles, it's really cool because it has all the history of like nail art and
yeah,
really
I'm actually just strolling around it right now, and it's pretty awesome. It's got even like different cultural takes on nail art and, different
Yeah,
history?
she did a great job. A lot of the exhibits, and I'm not knocking anybody's exhibits because I loved them all, but one of the things I really loved about this exhibit was there was that educational aspect to it, where she invites you to learn a little bit more about what she does from a historical sense, as opposed to just showing the designs. So she did a great job. I think Amanda Dacre and SHRH and Anor was also involved in this exhibit, and forgive me if I forgot anybody else. Isa, I think, made the emotes, which is I think one of my favorite emotes of the year. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, to the point of what you said, you're exactly right. Decentraland creators with these brands. I know Super Nina worked a lot with the Fabricant to create experiences with, new emotes and, dance party with the Gabber, the Gabber, really funny, which was like a Dutch
raver dance or something, right?
Yeah, the Gabber dance, Dutch rave style. So I was like, yeah, it really, really brought communities together. I thought that you're right.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm feeling like I definitely missed out. I know that the topic of sustainability has come up a lot, and I know that like you're dealing with the 3D printed dress, right? How much do you think that this Web3 wave and this kind of phygital space is going to help on the sustainability front as we wind down here?
I mean, I think that it's super important to be able to, let's say, for example, if you want to try on something, you don't have to be, physically have the garment to try it on now. You can, have a fitting, let's say, with, not wasting materials and things like that in AR, let's say. And you can, when you're creating a dress, like in 3D with the help of 3D printing, you have no waste of materials. So it's like zero waste. So, it's really helping the augmented reality piece is really kind of giving that aspect of, okay, now we don't have all this, there's so much material that gets thrown on the cutting room floor, so to speak, when you're creating like a couture gown or something, that if you can use this technology to have less waste, and even for, let's say, shipping, like if you want to purchase a 3D printed tunic, for example, you can have it shipped, so to speak, to the 3D printer near you, right? And you don't have to, ship anything anywhere anymore. So it's really cool to watch the technology. Yeah.
And the technology is evolving so much that 3D printing can still give you a range of different fabrics and stuff, right? And different styles. So it's not like you're super limited.
Yeah, exactly. There's some fabrics out there, it's, really filament that's out there. That's all different. Sylvia actually worked on a project last year, which was made with biodegradable filament. So that was the first kind of iteration of this names dress, I guess we could say. And it was more like historical names, like Amelia Earhart on the dress. And so she made a similar project, but it was shown in the Ferragamo Museum in Italy. And it, right before the pandemic. And I love to tell this story because the dress actually, the museum shut down, the pandemic happened, and then the dress started to biodegrade, and the museum, was freaking out because the dress was, essentially disappearing. He said, we have to save the dress, but this is what's supposed to be happening. So it's very interesting.
Disintegrating. So, don't have to worry about that with the wearables, at least.
Exactly.
No doubt. Any thoughts on sustainability, Tang, and what you've seen in the space?
Well, I'm particularly, I'm strictly virtual. So for me, what I like to see about Phygital is the idea of when you purchase something in the real world, you can get the metaverse version of it. So you can maybe see it with some of the artifact designs or something. You'll get the T-shirt, but then when you scan it with the QR code in AR, that it has wings, or you can get one in Decentraland that gives you special powers or has particular utility. So I like the value added part of it. I can't speak so much to this. I mean, obviously it's great for sustainability, but that's really Astrid's expertise more than mine.
No doubt. Very cool. Well, I've really appreciated this talk. I'm definitely feeling like the FOMO on DCL right now. I've been a little bit out of the loop. I'm walking around the Metaverse Fashion Week and seeing all these claims that I missed the claiming window for. But very cool. It's really exciting, and I do look forward to doing more in DCL. And I love what you're doing on the onboarding front. I always mention I do work with the Dream Conduit, which is a first of its kind nonprofit carbon neutral DAO focused on helping creators and creatives onboard into Web3, and they're actually a 501c3, so we have some tax benefits and opportunities to really try to reach into these spaces and do events that can benefit the whole community, and potentially obviously onboard a lot more people. So as I'm working with that DAO and really focused on onboarding and reaching out to new creators, I would love to see what we can do perhaps in DCL, and I'll definitely be mentioning, dropping by your weekly events at the Dollhouse there. It sounds like a happening spot.
Amazing.
Appreciate it. Did either of you have any final words you want to add before we wrap up here?
I just want to thank you so much for inviting us on the show. This has been a really nice experience. It's always fun to meet people who are open-minded about the metaverse, and it was great. And thank you, Astrid, for including me.
Yeah,
Thanks,
David,
Dan.
thank you so much for having us. I'm super happy that this came together. It was just a really great flow, and I hope that people enjoyed it.
Awesome. Me too. I think there was a lot of educational pieces. I'm definitely going to be checking out Hyperfi after this. I definitely a little bit out of the loop on that. I think I've seen a little bit of mentions on Twitter, but I have not checked it out myself. So I'll be checking that out. And I think you touched on a lot of important points around onboarding, around the excitement in DCL and what people can look forward to. I didn't know about the emotes being purchasable now, and how, kind of wide-ranging those seem to be, so I'll be checking that out as well. So
Yay.
Thanks. Yeah, really cool. And I will be at the Dollhouse one of these days and see what the party's like. So thank you so much.
I'm going to hold
Tang.
you to that. Thank you.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Thanks, Tang. Thanks, Astrid. If anyone, don't think we have any more questions in the chat, we're all good. Astrid showing off that awesome AR filter, looking fancy, and Tang with the avatar looking next level, blinged out in the metaverse. So join us at the Dollhouse on Wednesday for her Wednesday night parties. And until then, we will be in the metaverse, and we'll catch you all next time. Peace out.